All right, ladies, Colin Kaepernick is making headlines again for his new Netflix special, Colin, Black and White, where he criticized the NFL by comparing it to slavery. In a scene from the series, Colin said, "What they don't want you to understand is what's being established is a power dynamic. Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected, no dignity left intact." So ladies, I'm curious, do you think there's something to this? How does it make you feel when you hear that comparison?
I've obviously never experienced anything like it, so I can't speak to it. I have to take what he's saying. I have to value that that was his experience and that's how he felt. My only concern with coming out and saying something like it's similar to slave trade is how does that make those other black men feel that are playing for the NFL, one part. You know, now you're calling them that they're a part of a slave trade. How does that make them feel? And the second part is that just as recent as October 13th of this year, he admitted that he wants to go back into the NFL.
Right, so what does that say?
I'm so confused. If you felt this way,
Right.
why is this something you'd want to be a part of again?
Right.
So that's a little confusing for me.
I thought it was a bold move comparing slavery to playing football. I thought that was really bold, but it also got your attention. Ava DuVernay knows what she's doing, and it was depicted in, it made sense the way they put it there, right? The way they did it.
Yeah.
But I also feel like football players choose to be a football player. They choose to go into that field. They are also being compensated greatly for their game, for their athleticism. So you can't compare that to slavery, but I do feel like Colin should be on the field. You know, he's been raising awareness way longer than we know behind the scenes, and I really feel like he should be playing
He says he wants
the game because he's so good at it, and I feel like this has tainted his entire career. But I also don't know if we should compare it to slavery.
We should not be comparing it to slavery. Our ancestors went through a lot, and they didn't get paid.
And they didn't choose it.
To use this
And it wasn't
as a
a choice.
metaphor,
They didn't choose it.
They're getting paid. They're you know.
I agree with you.
It's just ridiculous.
It's too bold.
There's some kid out there that this is like their life goal.
Right.
NFL
To be a
football
part of the
is a
NFL.
highly revered position. When you make it, you are a star. You are an icon. To compare it to something that was one of the most heinous, actually, I would say the most heinous act in the history of America
Of this
that we
country.
have blood on our hands for. I can't see that comparison.
And it's a disrespect to the ancestors,
Yes.
I feel. I do like what LeBron said. What he said is that he compared the NFL bigwigs as a slave owner mentality.
Yes.
Which is totally different than saying, you know, they're slaves. You know, it's their mentality of how they're being treated.
Yeah.
But again, you're getting a lot of money. This is what you sign up for. And like you said, there are a lot of kids that work really hard to get into...
Because it would be a life-changing
Yeah, it's a
experience.
life-changing experience.
But I still want to say that maybe there's some change that can happen from what he's saying. I'm not saying that we should completely go, oh, he's making a lot of money, so they can prod and make him feel...
No.
So I do think we should pay attention to what he's saying, because that was his experience. And maybe there should be some change, which we've been saying there needs to be a lot of changes in the NFL, but comparing it to slavery...
Well, there are changes. They have a union.
Yeah.
They have an NFL union, a players' union.
How do you think that changes how they feel?
Because unions can actually
Protect you.
change the way
say
and
no
protect
more.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
And definitely decide how they're going to do the training camps and things like that.
I'm just so curious why he's saying both. That he feels that it's slavery, yet he still wants to join.
He did it for the drama.
I mean, I think it's some part of the series, you know what I mean? They
that's all.
actually show.
Yeah, you have to take people to the depth of
Yeah.
how bad it was for you.
Right.
And whether or not it still is. He still has to paint what
And
it
there
was like
have
for
been
him.
other players, NFL players, to write books about this, of how they felt like they've been dehumanized and things like that, playing in the NFL. So I get that, the being traded, you don't know if you're being traded. But you know what? It's all in that contract.
And it is true.
It really is all
You're giving up your livelihood, your health, and your body for the rest of your life. I mean, after your mid-30s, late 30s, you're done. Like that, whatever condition your body is, that's what you have for the rest of your life.
Except if you're Tom Brady.
I know,
That part.
Keep going.
Tom Brady keeps going.